Hey guys, my name is Sarah and this is my first book review. So as I told you guys in my September TBR, instead of a book review, I'm going to be doing a trilogy review of the Everneath trilogy by Brodi Ashton. This is a paranormal romance trilogy that I started August of this year and I finished last week. It includes 3 books and a small novella that I read also, so I'm going to be talking about all 4 books. If you haven't read this series, please be aware that this is a spoiler-full video because I'm reviewing every single book. So if you would like to read it, leave now because you're going to get spoiled. If you have read it, or you're the type of person that doesn't really mind spoilers, stick around so I can tell you guys what I thought. So the first book in the trilogy is called Everneath. The premise is about this girl named Nikki who for the last 6 months has been in the underworld, which they call the Everneath. And she comes back to the surface, which is basically the real world, to give her final goodbyes to her family, her friends, and her boyfriend Jack before she is taken away back into the underworld to waste away and die, giving energy to the Everneath. In the meantime, in the 6 months, the guy who took her there, Cole, is trying to convince her to not leave and die, but to become an ever-living and to rule the underworld with him as the queen. I gave this book a 3 out of 5 rating, mostly because there was a lot of things that I did not like. I can spend one day reading 2 to 3 books, but it took me a couple of days to become invested in this book, which has never actually happened to me before, so it's one of the things that I was like, not that good. One of the reasons that I actually liked the book was because of Cole. Even though he's technically the bad boy in the book, I think he was the most developed character out of all of them. He was the one that was most interesting to me because of the layers in his character. He was mean and mysterious, but at the same time he was funny. I liked him the best out of all the characters. It's never happened to me before. Usually I'm all for the main characters and into the romance, but in this one, the romance didn't actually catch me. Because of the way the book is formatted, we only get flashbacks of the romance between Nikki and Jack, and that wasn't actually enough for me. I didn't feel their connection. I didn't understand her love for him or his love for her. So that's one of the things that I was like made the rating so low. But one of the great things about this book is the mythology. She twisted the whole sort of Greek underworld type of thing and made it this new world. I thought that was really great and really original, and that's one of the reasons that I gave it as high as a rating as I did. Life, I guess. So one of the main reasons that I actually picked up this trilogy was because of the cover. If you've seen my introduction video, you know I want to be a graphic designer to create book covers. So a lot of the reasons that I read books is because of the covers and how they speak to me. These books really attracted me right away. I saw them on Goodreads and I was like, this is gorgeous, this is beautiful, I want to know what this cover represents on the inside. I love the dress and smoke all around, and I love how all 3 books sort of have that same image, and that's one of the things that I love most about it. Whoever the graphic designer was for that, way to go. It's amazing. Next is the novella, which is called Never Fall, and I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, and it's because it's all about Cole. It's a whole novella about Cole and from his point of view and what he's doing and what he's thinking and where he's going, and I absolutely love it. At the end of the first book, Nikki, Jack, and Cole are in this sort of confrontation to try to keep Nikki from going back into the underworld, or the tunnels, which is basically like this giant energy wastebasket. What you figure out in the first book is that it doesn't matter what person is taken. It matters that someone is taken. So as an act of, like, love, Jack jumps into the tunnels to save Nikki. And in this novella, we get to find out time between the first and second book. Cole is trying to figure out a way to get Nikki to do what he wants. And that leads him to a confrontation with the Delphinians, which is this group of crazy people who were kicked out of the Everneath, where they have a bunch of secrets about how the Everneath work. They figure out how Nikki can become queen and how she did it. But then he ends up getting in this prison by the Delphinians. And it was a really intense book. Like, I was much more invested in this one than I was the other two, mostly because of Cole. Other part is because of the gore. If you have a really weak stomach, I wouldn't suggest you do this. The punishment that they give you in the Delphinian prison, it's not good. Like, it's disgusting. And I thought that was super interesting. Then I loved that they had eternal punishments like in Greek mythology. Cole gets to meet this interesting character that lets him know, gives him clues, and helps him figure out how Nikki survived. Some clues and helps him figure out how Nikki survived. And their conversations are really interesting, and the guy is such an enigma. Like, you don't get to see him until a small part of the book. You just hear him and hear his story, and he's just so interesting, and I love all the parts, and I was glad that Nikki wasn't there in this book because I got to know Cole so much better. And even though he was still a douchebag, and I'm sorry for the word, but he is, I love him. So the next book in the trilogy is the second book. It's called Everbound, and this takes place right after, well, I think a few months after Jack gets taken by the tunnels. Nikki is absolutely desperate to figure out a way to get him back. And who does she call? Obviously, Cole, because she's the only one she knows that isn't ever leaving, knows how it works, and could find and figure out a way to get to the tunnels to get him out. And they devise this whole plan to save Jack. And I absolutely loved it. Throughout the whole book, there's the huge quest, there's the mythology part of it that I just absolutely loved. I mean, I can't, like, stop talking about Greek mythology. For me, that's one of the greatest things that a book could have, is Greek mythology. And she does such a good job of twisting it and making it original and putting her own ideas on it. A lot of people talk about how this is a love triangle, and I don't really agree. I think the whole time Nikki is 100% sure in Jack. I think to be a love triangle, she has to have some sort of feelings for Cole. To me, it's more like, let's be friends for a little while so you can help me get the love of my life back. It's not like, oh my gosh, I can't pick between this guy or this other guy like most love triangles are about. It's just her saying, I need you for a moment. I'm going to tolerate you right now because that's where I need you, but this ain't going to happen. I don't know, it wasn't a 5 out of 5 because of the reason that they were on this quest. But the rest of it was really exciting. There was so much adrenaline, so many different twists and turns. The second book was just really, really good. I loved it. It was my favorite book out of all of it. If they could have just stopped at the second book and found a way to, like, wrap it up, that would have been the greatest outcome for me. The last book in the trilogy is called Ever True, and this was the one that I liked the least. So I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars, and I feel really bad about it, but I have a lot of reasons why I did not like it. And I'm going to list them, because if not, I'm going to go into this huge rant, and it's going to be a very long video, and you guys are going to get bored. 1. She gives Cole amnesia. You found out in the book that he gets taken by the queen, and he's tortured in the Everneath because of Nikki, and because he knew that Nikki was there, and the queen is trying to find her to kill her, and him and the band get tortured, and somehow Cole gets away, but he ends up getting amnesia. So it turns him into this pansy, sweet, nice, like no bad intentions person, and it's just like, what did you do to him? This is awful. It like broke my heart, and I was just like, Brody, we're gonna have issues. This is not okay. Second, Jack ends up coming back from the tunnels, but he comes back as this orangutan, big muscle jock, like Jew's head, and he spends half the book either so mad at someone he wants to hurt them, or so jealous that he breaks something. And then you have Nikki like, oh, Jack, he loves me so much, and like his muscles, and I'm just like, girl, what is wrong with you? Part 3 has to do with the plot. The whole point, at the end of the second book, we find out after Nikki gets kicked out of the Everneath that Cole didn't want to help her find Jack at all. That his whole mission was to turn her into a ever-living like him. So she has no choice but to help him break down, like kick out the queen, kill the queen, and rule with him. So the whole point of the book 3 is how to get Nikki to not be queen. The awful part of it was, at the end, she thinks that she's just turning all these ever-livings, that most of them that she doesn't know, that they're just going to go back to their human self. They're just going to be human again. At the very, very end, realizes, like, no, it's not okay, because these people are more than 1,000 years old. So they're literally just going to die. So this girl, even though she accomplishes her goal, she's fine, she's not an ever-living, she commits a mass genocide of a race with no thought to it whatsoever. Mass genocide. Because she was turning into an ever-living, so she's killing her own people. She killed her ever-living self, too. She killed thousands of people, and there was just no, like, holy crap, what did I just do? It was just like, oh well, I did it. The fourth part is the saddest part of the entire book. Because of the mass genocide, to destroy the ever-living, to destroy the Everneath, which is what Nikki's idea was, to save herself, destroy the whole thing, because I'm not doing anything. I'm not going to be these people, so we're just going to destroy their homes and kill them in the process. But for it to be actually destroyed, every single ever-living had to die, including Cole. And because of that, Cole breaks his heart and commits suicide. What have you done? The one redeeming character in this entire trilogy kills himself? After everything he's done to try to win and be king and rule the place that he's now helping destroy, he kills himself? The last part, at the end, she just killed a bunch of people, she's back to the surface, we lost Cole, and then her father makes her go to rehab. And I'm just like, have all these people lost their minds? That's how you're going to end it? Sending her off to rehab? Overall, I gave the entire, like the average is a 3 out of 5 stars for the whole trilogy. Even if you watch this whole video where you agree with me or not, put it down in the comments. Let's discuss. Let's talk about it. Still recommend this book. I still recommend the author. I wouldn't be so angry, so like, or so hurt if I hadn't liked it, if I haven't like connected with at least one character. And I still recommend it. Your experience could be different than mine, so give it a shot. So thanks for watching, you guys. I hope I didn't bore you. I got a little bit intense there for a second. I hope you weren't freaked out. I have any questions, book recommendations, put them down in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Bye!